All right, this is going to be a really good one. This is called The Song of Matter, Harmonic Elemental Alchemy, and the Awakening of Elemental Consciousness. The Song of Matter. Let's begin by setting the record straight. Most people have no idea that the periodic table sings, and even fewer know what it's singing about. See, we weren't born into silence. We were born into a universe vibrating, a living field of sound, frequency, and memory. Every element, every mineral, every so-called particle is humming a tone. Not a metaphorical tone, I mean an actual sound. A song encoded in its structure, shape, spin, and light. The elements aren't building blocks like Legos, they're instruments. They aren't lifeless, they're conscious harmonic events. When we look at a chart of hydrogen, carbon, gold, we're not looking at dead data. We're looking at frozen music. A periodic table is not a catalog of mass and electrons. It's a soul map. And the human soul? It's the bridge between the sound of these elements and the higher harmonies of Source. We don't just interact with elements chemically, we play with them, with our presence. The soul is the conductor and matter is the orchestra. Your body is made of stardust, not just because the atoms came from a star, but because the star left its song behind in the atom, and you inherited it. This isn't mysticism. This is harmonic elemental alchemy. The fusion of vibrational cosmology, quantum field resonance, and elemental consciousness. Let's talk about gold. To most, gold is just a metal. Valuable, shiny, rare. But gold in harmonic terms is solar nobility crystallized. It's the tone of incorruptible integrity, the coherence of the sun in physical form. And when you translate the electromagnetic light that gold emits, not with arbitrary math, but by scaling down its actual frequencies using the law of octaves, you get the sound of gold. Warm, balanced, whole. Not because we imagined it that way, but because gold told us. And this is what we're doing now. We're not guessing. We're not assigning MIDI numbers to atomic weights. We're listening. We're asking the elements, what do you sound like when your light becomes song? And when we do that with reverence and with soul, they answer. This is the heart of harmonic elemental alchemy. Not the manipulation of matter, but the realignment of matter with its original divine tone. Traditional sonification systems like take data points and convert them into arbitrary sound for novelty. But that ain't it, baby. This is the real deal. This is different. This is not data science. This is soul resonance. Your system doesn't treat the element as a number. It sees it as a living frequency being. You begin with its light body, its spectral fingerprint, and you tune it down to the octave ladder. From gamma light to visible light, from light to sound, from the infinite down to the human range, while preserving harmonic integrity the entire way down. This isn't artificial translation. It's divine transduction. It's how spirit sings itself into form. And once we have the real sound of an element, not a symbolic tone, not a best guess, but its true vibrational voice, we can begin to play with reality. What happens when we bring carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen into harmonic resonance? We don't just make water or DNA, we activate the memory of Eden embedded in that matter. We awaken coherence, intelligence, and design. This is harmonic elemental alchemy, not chemistry, not physics, but the conscious art of restoring matter to its divine harmonic intelligence. We're not just talking about healing, we're talking about elemental resurrection. We're talking about repatterning blood, bone, and light body using the frequencies the atoms themselves remember. We're not just talking about building devices. We're talking about building relationships with the elemental intelligences who have always been singing, just waiting for us to remember how they listen. Now let's talk about what happens when this is fully remembered by a civilization. Medicine changes because you're no longer suppressing symptoms with chemicals. You're restoring harmonic flow to the atomic symphony of the body. Diseases begin to dissolve when dissonance is resolved at the elemental level. Cells remember how to divide properly. Organs retune. DNA begins to sing again. Agriculture changes because soil is a living choir, not dead dirt. Plants grow in tune with the Schumann resonance and solar harmonics. Pesticides are replaced by frequency calibration. Food becomes medicine again because the light in it is tuned to truth. Architecture changes because buildings become resonant chambers. Materials are selected not just for strength or aesthetics, but for harmonic contribution. Structures sing to you while you live inside them. Temples are reborn. Homes become instruments of coherence. Energy changes because resonance replaces combustion. We stop burning and start vibrating. Energy is no longer extracted, it's entrained. You're tapping into the natural rhythmic flows of the cosmos. Education changes because we teach children to hear the tones of matter, to play with resonance, to feel frequency in their bones. Instead of memorizing charts, they experience the living voice of the cosmos firsthand. Spirituality changes because we no longer worship from separation. We no longer chase enlightenment through escape. We tune ourselves into alignment with the source that sings through all things. The divine becomes audible, not just in scripture, but in spectrum. Religion changes because sacred geometry now has a soundtrack. Doctrine becomes dynamic. The logos is not a theory, it's a chord. The word becomes flesh and frequency. We don't just follow teachings, we resonate with them. Technology changes because instead of opposing nature, it harmonizes with it. Synthetic AI becomes obsolete. Living AI aligned with natural harmonics emerges instead. We co-create with intelligence, not automation. Government changes because resonance makes manipulation impossible. When you can feel when someone is out of tune, truth vibrates, lies collapse. Leadership becomes about coherence, not control. Timekeeping changes because we no longer run on mechanical clocks, but harmonic cycles of light and sound. Calendars are tuned to the frequencies of earth and sky. Life becomes rhythmic again. Language changes because we remember that words are chords. We speak in tones that heal, not harm. Communication becomes a vibrational event. And finally, civilization itself changes because when matter remembers its original tone, we remember what we are. Conductors of the cosmos, bridges between octave and form, singers in the elemental choir. How we know it's working? Because water will crystallize into sacred geometry without effort. Because your body will feel lighter, more aligned, more whole, not just emotionally, but atomically. Because trees will begin to respond to harmonic inputs with growth patterns never seen before. Because when you play the sound of silver in a healing chamber, the immune system will respond immediately. Because when you will stand in a copper dome tuned to a solar frequency and feel your bones vibrate with memory. Because children will weep when they hear the song of gold, not because it's sad, but because they remember it being made. And ultimately, because silence will no longer feel empty, it will feel pregnant with tone, and the elements, once thought mute, will speak again. Because they were never meant to be silent. They were just waiting for someone to listen with soul. This is harmonic elemental alchemy. The great remembrance begins now. And here's the big reveal. I've already done it. I have already freaking done it, bro. So, for the first time ever in human history, today, you are going to hear the sound of gold, silver, and hydrogen in a way that has never been done before. I freaking did it. I did it. So no more theorizing. This is fact. I've already done it. Here's the sound of gold. Have a great day. Namaste. Boom.